Hello, futuros cash libres. Welcome back to the show. We are going to learn how to get approved for our dream casita today. And I'm going to let my guest introduce herself. So, Viri, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. And yes, I am a real estate broker here in Washington, real estate agent, broker, it's the same thing. So I help mostly buyers, and first time home buyers is my niche. So I love home buyer education. It is my favorite part of my job.
I love that. And we're going to get into all of that.
Mhm.
But we always love some good chisme, okay? We're like
Yes.
chismosas, and we want to know about you and what was your relationship with money growing up like?
To be completely honest, I always saw my parents kind of struggle, especially when I was younger. And so they got a little bit more established as I started growing up. But when I was younger, I would definitely see that struggle and that they would have that mindset of that scarcity mindset of like money doesn't grow on trees. So, it's like a sacred thing, and it's hard to obtain. So it was kind of something that I watched growing up. So it did definitely affect my relationship with money, especially when you get your first job and you're a teenager and you're like, I'm just going to blow it all because my parents said that money was hard to get. And look at me, I can buy whatever I want now.
Yeah, it sounds to be that you had some of the identity that a lot of us have, by the way. It's not just
Mhm.
you, like, solo se vive una vez, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
splurge because we grew up in a scarcity. And now,
Mhm.
heck yeah, like, let's go
Yeah.
spend the money. Now, I want to ask you about your parents specifically. Like,
Mhm.
you talk about like the relationship with money was also a little bit different for them. How
Yeah.
did they manage money? Did they even knew that they could budget or do things like the things that you and I are doing now?
No, no, they did not. They would save money here and there, and they'd be like, "Oh, esto por si acaso" or whatever. But I know they did not use any planning, any like reserves of this and like budget for this, and this goes here. Like it was like, okay, here's our paycheck. Let's do whatever, pay our bills, and then the rest is like, whatever YOLO.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do what we're gonna do with it, and yeah. So it was definitely not an organized relationship with money at all.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So now I want to ask you some questions, and you're actually my first guest that I'm going to ask this set of questions, and so you just have to pick the one you like, okay?
Okay.
So, debit or credit?
Credit.
Real estate investing or stock market?
I'm biased, so real estate.
Cutting expenses or increasing income?
Increasing income all the way.
Personal branding or launching a business?
Personal branding.
Okay, awesome. Okay, you're the first one that I give those questions to
Ooh.
now. We're going to dive into your story of becoming a realtor, but also I want to start, of course, giving actionable steps to people so they can buy their first home if that is a goal that they have this year. So,
Mhm.
how did you get started into real estate?
So I actually was a master esthetician for like 7 years. And so that I have always loved servicing clients. I have always loved like people. And so talking to them, it just makes my job so much easier. And I'm like a very people person. So I always wanted to work in a job where like I'm talking to people every day and not like behind the screen so much, which I still kind of do. But I want to be in front of people. So after I did aesthetics and I was kind of burnt out with that, I was looking for a career change, and that's when real estate popped up. And my coach at the time, she's a life coach, and her mom is a real estate agent. She was like, "You should definitely get into it," because I was interested in doing it a couple years before, but I was like, "Nunca me animé." I was like, "Nah." Um, and yeah, she was like, "Yeah, you should definitely do it." And then I was like, "Okay, well, I'll just do the course and see what happens." And yeah, I've had my license for a year and 1 month, and I just today's my work anniversary at my office, which is Realty One Group Orca.
Wait, today?
Yes,
That's
literally
awesome.
today. I know, isn't that crazy? But yeah, I love it so much, and it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like a chore. Obviously, there's hard things being in real estate and things that are outside of our control, and all those things. But it's such a wonderful job, and I think just being able to assist people in such a huge milestone is like it just makes my heart happy.
Yes, and I love that for you so much. First of all, I also want to highlight the fact that you talk about having a life coach.
Hmm.
I love that for you because as Latinas, I feel like we don't do that enough, right? We're always like, I'm going to wait until I learn or I'm going to postpone it. And you
Yeah.
took action by having someone to help you. So I really love that for you. Now, what would you say to someone who is thinking about buying a home, but they're not sure how to get approved? Maybe they're the first gen homeowners. Like,
Yes.
can you walk us through some of the steps that they will need to have in place before actually even going to see the dream house?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there, I always tell my any like prospective clients or anyone that even just has any questions for me, I'm like, talk to me. I am more than happy to connect you to the mortgage lender. So I know a ton of them, and I work with some very closely, and so I kind of like tailor that their needs and like their personality to the mortgage lender that I know they'll connect with, and that will assist them all the way through. But I also am able to answer a lot of those questions that they would ask the mortgage lender, just because being in the industry, you just learn so much, even though that's technically not my job. So I will not be running your credit. I will not be like taking your paperwork and your income or any of that. But I am knowledgeable in that sense. So I do answer questions for my clients and stuff. And once they're like, okay, I do want to talk to a lender, then I'm like, here you go, here, connect with this person and they will help you every single step of the way. But my biggest thing is like education and just like not being scared to ask questions. Because if you've never bought a home or your parents have never bought a home, you don't even know where to start. And so having an action plan for home buying is so important. And you may not be ready to do it right here, right now, in the next 3 months. You're like, I'm not ready to buy a house, but you need to know what documents you're going to need. A lot of the times we run into people that their lease is over or they are ready to just like make that move right away. And then we do need some time. There are some action plans that they're needing to fulfill first before being able to make that big step. So I think knowledge is power, and just connect with a real estate agent that you and don't be afraid to like interview them too, or like ask them questions before you go with someone. But yeah, they should be your biggest resource throughout this process.
I love that. So we're gonna role play, okay? So
Mhm.
I'm your future client, and I make $120,000 a year
Yes.
in Washington State.
Mhm.
Do I qualify for a home?
My first question would be, how long have you been at your job or earning that much money? And I would also ask you about your liabilities. And that is like what I would ask you and what a lender would ask you. Because sure, you can make, a certain amount of money, but then liabilities also come into play. Credit score comes into play. And then also how like your work history, right? Like, did you just start making that much money? And a lot of the times that can be waived with an offer letter from your job, like, hey, you're guaranteed this pay throughout this whole year, or you have a contract. But just kind of those are some of the basic background questions that we would be asking.
Okay, I love that. So let's do it. Okay, we're gonna do it because
Yeah.
we want to educate our people, and I'm trying to do things a little bit different now for the podcast. So
Yeah.
I don't have any debts.
Okay.
And I have been employed for 5 years, and this is all pretend, okay, guys? So listen up. Employed for 5 years, and I have a credit score of 720.
Okay. Perfect. So at that point, I'm a real estate agent. If I'm hearing that, I'm like, okay, you're ready to go and apply. So I'm sending you to my lender friend, and you're going to go and fill out an application. Is there any questions, concerns that you have before you do that?
I do. Do I have to choose your lender friend, or can I research any other lenders, or am I exclusively tied to the lenders in Washington state?
You're not tied to anyone. I always suggest who I've worked with and who I've had great experiences with and who my clients have had great experiences with. And they'll obviously always be my first resource to go to because I know that they'll get the job done and they'll help you every step of the way. But you are more than welcome to shop lenders. Yeah,
I
and
love
at the end of the day, it'll be your choice.
I love that. See, this is the year that we educate our comunidad so we can buy their
Yes.
dream casita. Now, let me ask you this because, as Latinos and as people that want to help our community,
Mhm.
we do like to send people to other Latinos that we know. For example, I refer
Yes.
people to estate planning Latinas, attorneys. I refer them to lenders just like you. But
Mhm.
like, what does Vidi look like when you think, okay, that person that I know is a good fit and I trust him?
Oh yes, 100%. And I tell this to everyone that asks me about anything that has to do with the home buying process. Is like, I have worked with other lenders that don't. For example, a big thing that I look out for is like if my client speaks Spanish, I need someone that's going to speak Spanish fluently so that they can actually assist them and actually answer all their questions and also comfort them in this process, right? Because it is a scary thing, especially if you have someone that you are someone that hasn't purchased a home ever, or your parents haven't, or anyone you know has bought a home. I need someone that is gonna reassure you, comfort you, and not pressure you, and also be able to like be a huge resource of knowledge if you end up being like, okay, you know what, I'm not ready. We're not gonna be like, what the heck? We just, wasted our time helping you. Like, we're like, okay, you know what, you have all the knowledge that you need to know, and it's your decision. So that's a big thing for me is like with the lenders that I work in, since most of my clients are Latinos, Latinas, is that they would have that connection and that they would be taken care of in that way as well. And also just making sure that the lender's doing in what's in the best interest of the client and not just, a transaction.
Yeah, no, just sign
Yeah.
this loan that has like double the double the
No.
interest and all of that. I love that. I think that it's important for I think it was important for me to ask you this question because I think that our community also needs to understand how we vet some of the people that we refer to, right? Like we just don't say, yeah, we'll take anyone. So I
I
love that.
Yeah, I have experienced that before where previous clients have just gone with whoever. They were just kind of like, oh, I just randomly, saw this person. It was the first person I came in contact with. And then that's where kind of things started going wrong for them. Or like they were like, oh man, I didn't have the best experience. And that just breaks my heart because I'm like, imagine that was my parents or my aunt or someone and they just had like this bad experience with someone just because they didn't know better or they didn't think of other resources. So yeah.
I love that. I love that so
Mhm.
much. Okay, we're gonna keep role playing. Okay, so
Yeah.
my loan got approved. I have
Mhm.
everything I need. When do you take me to see my options for the house, or when does that happen?
Yeah. Honestly, as soon as you're pre-approved, I'm ready to go. I do like to do a little consultation with my clients. Some of them are just super excited, and we literally just jump into like home showings and stuff. But I do like having a consultation with my clients, and I just kind of explain to them my duties as their agent and the way that I'll be representing them and doing what's in the best interest for them. But I also want to get to know your needs. What are you looking for in a home? How many bedrooms do you need? How many bathrooms do you need? Is there a certain budget? Even though you have a pre-approval, we still run into other clients that they're like, well, my pre-approval is this high, but I'm only wanting to spend this much. And then we just work from there. So that's what I would ask you. I would be like, okay, how many bedrooms do you want? How
Oh,
many baths do you want? What are you looking for? What are your wants? What are your needs? What are your non-negotiables? Um,
I
yeah.
love that. So you wouldn't just go and show me $1 million home if I'm not approved for $1 million.
Unfortunately, not if you want to go see them for fun. I might take you on one, but other than that, we're not we're not doing
We should
that.
do that, by the way, of the podcast in real life. We should do that.
No, seriously, I'm down.
I love that. What are some of the things that you see that maybe people just get denied for
Mhm,
a loan, right? Because I think it's important to also highlight the things that maybe we shouldn't do if we're especially like getting ready to buy the home, which for a lot of people is financial security. So like I'm asking you these questions. I know the answer, but of course you're my guest here,
mhm,
and I just want to ask, what are the biggest mistakes people make when getting pre-approved for a home?
mhm. I will have to say the biggest one that comes up is the way that people file their taxes. So that's another thing, is that, going to a real estate agent and using them as a source of knowledge, it just benefits you in the long run, because then we're able to refer you a good accountant, a good tax preparer. And so we see that a lot, where like their taxes weren't done right. They weren't aware of their credit score being a certain amount. And so it's just small things like that that can hold people back months, or sometimes even a year or two, depending on the situation. So those are some really big things that we advise our clients on. And we also do monthly homeowner education around Snohomish County and King County. And they're completely in Spanish. And so that's why we do it, because we know that we want to encourage people, like, yeah, it is possible. Like, sure, you may have a bad credit score right now and you might not qualify because of that reason, but here's an action plan on how to fix that and how you can qualify in the next 9 months to a year.
And I love that you're doing the education part of it,
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many people out there that truly have no idea how to buy a home. Like
Yeah.
I'm the first one in my family who has a bigger home, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
going through the process and wondering, like, wait, what is this? Like, even my
Yeah.
husband, he's also a first-time homeowner, and we were going through the process together, and we were just kind of looking at each other, like, let's Google that, right? Let's
Yeah.
find out what we need to do. Now, tell me about you. I'm going to come back to you as a
Mm-hmm.
realtor. How does it feel for you to be able to walk people through their journey and actually
Mm-hmm.
get to the point where you're either giving them the keys, or I know you do gifts for them because I seen you on
Yeah.
social, you buy things for them. How does it feel for you, and what does that mean for you?
Ooh, now me getting teary eyed. Oh my gosh, it's
Podemos
so
llorar,
amazing.
okay? No tengo chimuelitos. Aquí needs my hair.
It, it's amazing. It's amazing. Because every family, has their story, or each individual has their story on like what it took for them to get there. And so it's just amazing, and it's the best feeling ever. And I just want to like honor them and give them that respect. Like, hey, you did it, even though maybe you had to you had some circumstances that you had to get taken care of before, but here you are, you're getting your keys, you're moving into your home, you're going to make your first mortgage payment. And so it's just the best feeling ever. And I just feel so blessed. My clients have always just been the sweetest, and they're just so grateful. And sometimes they get me gifts, and I'm like, stop, do not get me anything. Like, it is the greatest honor of my life that you even allowed me to help you with this journey. So like, that's it. Like, please don't no one give me anything.
I love that. Do you have any resources for people that maybe want to learn about the process, or on your website, your socials? Give us
Yes.
that chisme because we love resources.
All over. I'm on all social media platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We post our flyers there every single month for our homeowner education. It is completely in Spanish. Once in a while, we do English ones as well. And like I said, they're usually in Snohomish to King County. And yeah, we do that every single month. And then I'm always available to answer any questions. We also have some videos that we directly send to our clients if they have specific questions. So yeah, we are just here to answer any questions, any calls. We're always jumping on calls with clients, and they're like, "We feel bad wasting your time," or like, "We're not ready, but we have these questions." I'm like, please ask me. I want to help you. Like, I want to answer those questions for you. So I would just encourage people to just reach out and just ask the questions that they have, and don't let them just linger in your head, and get them unanswered, keep them unanswered.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Now, I want to ask you about you again because I'm like, I'm so chismosa. Like, if people can pay me for like just being chismosa, I already be like rich. Okay. So, do you have a home? Do you own your own home?
I do not yet. Nope, I do not. I That is on my wish list. That is on my goal list. That is a testimony for me, because like I said, I did aesthetics before this, and those couple years that I owned my business, I didn't file my taxes right. So then I'm like having to wait, because you need to at least 2 years tax history, and I'm like, see, guys, learn from me. I'm speaking from my own experience. Like, I've made mistakes with that, so it's such a big thing, especially that for business owners, the tax filing can be a little tricky.
Yeah. And I think it's important to also show to our community that we're not perfect. Like,
Yeah, no,
I used to be horrible with my finances. I was very much wealth avoidant. I didn't have a budget. I didn't care. I was just
yeah,
like, solo se vive una vez. And I talk about my mistakes all the time because without those mistakes, we wouldn't be able to show up and say, hey, this is what
hmm,
I'm doing. Right. So, where is
absolutely.
your dream home? Where would you like to have your dream home?
Oh man, I'm gonna be that person that wants like everything. I would just, I'm not a huge city girl, so I would love a home that just doesn't have to have acreage or anything, but just like a little isolated, a little with, I hopefully I can have my fruits and vegetables growing, that's really my biggest thing, is just having some space and some privacy, and just kind of like a little oasis. And then the rest, I'm like flexible. I'm like, I can fix it, and hopefully, my future husband is handy.
Yes, I love that. Okay, I love this conversation. So make sure that you give Viri a follow. Check the show notes to connect with her. And before I let you go, I want to ask you,
Mhm.
what does financial freedom mean to you?
Time and flexibility. So I feel the best and the most blessed when I'm able to take a day off and to rest, and to not miss my niece's birthday, or that to me is like financial freedom. Freedom is like that, having that time and that flexibility.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show. And
Thank
again,
you
make
for
sure you
having me.
give her a follow and send her some questions because we are
Yeah.
here to help you become cash libre. And of
Mhm.
course, say hola. Well, thanks again for listening.
Thank you for having me.